But first, earlier today, Dubai announced it is to launch a third satellite. It is Dubaisat fleet, with this launch being the first time a satellite will be partially constructed and completed here in the UAE. Well, the development marks the start of the UAE becoming a player in the space exploration industry. But what will Dubaisat 3 provide to people back on Earth? And is the UAE capable of creating the Middle East NASA? Well, here to tell us just that is Salam Al-Mari, the Assistant Director General for Scientific and Technical Affairs at the Emirates Institution for Advanced Science and Technology. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you, Katie.
So certainly some big changes since we spoke about a year ago about Dubaisat 2. Now it looks like we are beginning to look at manufacturing and really developing technologies here when it comes to satellites, being able to construct them on our home soil. Is that so we can construct them purely for Dubai's use, or do you see us becoming potentially an exporter of satellites?
I mean, definitely. I mean, what we want to do is basically concentrate on our team of UAE nationals, about 45 UAE nationals currently developing these satellites locally. And then obviously once they do develop the satellites successfully, I mean, we'll look at neighboring countries to try to develop satellites jointly with them.
So certainly some big potentials there. Now, of course, Dubaisat 3 is going to begin construction in South Korea. It'll be based there for a couple of years. Then you're going to be shipping all of it here to Dubai. What are some of the logistical challenges involved with setting up shop in South Korea and then bringing it here?
Well, for us, I mean, basically the initial 2 years will be done in South Korea, and that's basically the design and the initial development. So when we develop the satellite, we develop different models. So the first, let's say, development model, which is the engineering model, will be developed in South Korea. And once we shift to Dubai, we're going to start developing the flight model, the actual flight satellite here in Dubai. So basically the logistical challenges will be, shifting that whole team and that whole mindset to the UAE and really doing these satellite development tasks in our new facilities. And
do we have the understanding of that kind of technology? Does it exist currently in the Emirates today, or will we be there in about 2 years' time?
I mean, definitely will be there. I mean, currently, this technology is basically the people. So if we have the people that are able to develop these technologies, then we can do it. So our team is ready. It's just our facilities are not ready yet.
So tell me about Dubaisat 3 itself. How's it going to be different to previous programs? Why is it needed? How will it affect us here?
Well, Dubaisat 3 is quite similar in terms of structure or even the way it looks to Dubaisat 2. But underneath that, obviously, we have a much stronger payload, so the imaging will be much clearer. We'll be able to take about 4 times the capacity of the images per day. So that will be very good for obviously providing more images to the different entities that we provide, as well as the ability to maneuver the satellite. So it'll give us more strategic imaging, let's say. So.
Now, in terms of, I guess in terms of capabilities, etc., how is it, what can it be used for else here? We heard a story recently about a satellite being able to be used to track down some thieves that were here in Dubai. Is that something that you see this satellite program having the potential for?
Well, I don't think we'll be able to track thieves down, but what we do basically is, one thing that we do utilize Dubaisat 1 in is that we monitor all the different construction projects that are around the UAE. So one that we did was we monitored the world and the Palm Islands, and we monitored the sediments and the sea around those islands to see if are these islands sinking, is there any change? And this was basically over a 4-year period. And if you don't have your own satellite to monitor those areas every couple of days, you're not going to be able to do that.
And so what was the discovery? Were the international media right? Is the palm sinking? Are the islands sinking? Or
Actually, absolutely right. I mean, it's the opposite. We saw construction going on, so it was quite a positive, what we saw was quite positive.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of, I guess, some of the other challenges involved, how difficult is it to get a satellite up in space to make sure that it is orbiting correctly? And once it's up there, how safe is it? What are the risks involved? We keep hearing about a lot of space junk orbiting the Earth.
Well, I mean, the biggest risk in satellite systems development is not the actual satellite, it's the launch of that satellite. And then obviously once you have it in orbit, it's obviously maintaining that orbit and then all the space junk around. So what we try to do is try to obviously avoid these pieces of space junk. So we get notifications from different organizations, from the US mainly, and then if we are able to use our propulsion subsystem to avoid those pieces of space junk, we do that. If not, then we pray and we hope it doesn't hit us. So.
Absolutely. In terms of R&D, obviously there's something that's still a little bit young in this part of the world. It is growing. How important is that to your industry today, particularly when it's training up new Emirati students?
It's key for us because obviously One question that we always get is how much did the satellite cost? How much money will you be able to get from this satellite? And then for us, obviously, when we look at R&D, it's a very long-term thing. So we're thinking that, we'll see the results of this investment in the next 10 to 20 years. So, we're not concerned of, can we get a return on investment on this project? We want to see the long-term, let's say, results from the people.
And what are some of the financial figures that are involved in something like this?
I mean, we haven't released the figures for Dubaisat 3 yet, but when we looked at Dubaisat 1 and Dubaisat 2, both of those projects cost under $50 million.
Okay, still fairly significant. I mean, we are still waiting for Dubaisat to be officially launched. I know it has been completed. There have been some delays because initially we were looking to launch it back in October last year. So why has there been a wait, and when will it be up there orbiting?
Yes, the satellite obviously has been ready for a couple of months, so it's in storage right now. The launch has been delayed. It was supposed to be launched in October. We're currently still waiting for our slot. So in launching terms, there are different satellites before us. So there's one launch which has been delayed, which is before us, obviously. So once they launch, we're able to go into our slot. So we expect hopefully the third or fourth quarter of this year.
So does that delay anything like Dubaisat 3 if Dubaisat 2 is delayed?
No. So the satellite, obviously, the development of Dubaisat 3 has already begun. And we'll take a different launch. It's a different contract, so hopefully it won't impact it.
You're going to be very busy. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Wish you the best of luck with the launch and look forward to some more updates.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, after